You remember this girlie from this viral Putin mother video. If she looks kind of familiar to you, you may have already experienced one of the strangest and most controversial horror films from 2012. Honestly, American Mary and Antiviral never stood a chance. I mean, not even 3 minutes in, our protagonist is asking,
"Can you contract an STD from having sex with a dead person?"
Talk about a character introduction. But I'm getting ahead of myself. This is Annalyn McCord. For me, she's Eden from Nip Tuck. To you, she could be Naomi or Claudia. But today we're talking about her as Pauline from her role in Excision, and how an indie filmmaker went down swinging in hopes for his film to be made, remembered, and to cause waves. This film may be strange, but it's anything but boring. Directed by Richard Bates Jr., the dark comedy is 1 hour and 24 minutes of curveball after curveball. Everything that comes out of Pauline's mouth is so dark, the only way we can process it is to awkwardly laugh along.
And what if I told you I found the resting place of Jesus Christ in my backyard? And that with just a few advances in science and technology, I could resurrect him myself.
Honestly, this is my favorite style of comedy though. And while you're coming to terms with the bizarre dialogue, the cast cameos really take you for a ride. John Waters, Matthew Gray Gubler, Trisha Paytas' ex, Tracy Lords, Ariel Winter, Marley Matlin, who is fantastic, legend Malcolm McDowell, Ray Wise, and Peter Pan, to name a few. And if the dialogue and cast weren't enough to throw you, the themes included redefine edgy. This film is not scared of anything. In fact, most of it I can't even show on YouTube. On the surface, Excision is the story of a deeply disturbed high school student who dreams of working in the medical field, but she's also consumed by her bizarre fantasies of, you know, bathing in blood, intercourse with dead folk, cutting them apart? I mean, not concerning in the least. Let's just say Pauline is not doing well and her mental health serves as the core of this film. Her overbearing mother is hard to please, and although she has a great relationship with her little sister, her mother is not shy in letting Pauline know that her sister is the pinnacle of what she should be. And although it's oversold to the audience that Pauline is some gross outcast with greasy hair and, oh my god, teenage acne, the horror. I mean, is this any better than the She's All That glasses? The film spoon feeds us that she is the problem, but honestly, as the film goes on, Pauline's boldness to get what she wants, regardless of how society reacts, becomes impressive. And her overbearing racist mother seems to end the debate of nature versus nurture. In fact, in one of the first interactions, we see Pauline asking her mother for a proper therapist as she's dropped off to deal with her psychological issues by talking to the local priest.
Could you please have the decency to take me to an actual psychiatrist?
Your father and I are not made out of money.
The execution of this film can be seen as blending two of the most misunderstood icons in cult films, Donnie Darko and May. Both Donnie and May's mental health play into their perspectives of their world, and similar to this, people are aware that Pauline is suffering, but she lives in their world. And so when her symptoms attract attention, no one takes them seriously, which is how we get to the climax of the film. A circumstance I am not going to spoil for you if you have not seen it, because it is jaw-dropping, terrifying, and just plain dark. It really crosses all of the lines. But honestly, this result isn't really that shocking, because like the audience laughs along at Pauline's awkwardness, the characters in the film overlook her willingness to cross the line until it's fatal. It's like how we laugh along at these films, which are intended to be funny because it is entertainment to us, until the seriousness kicks in. Recent horror movie Spree also did this in a very interesting way. For me, she's like May living in Donnie Darko's realm. Donnie Darko's community only operates on two emotions, love and fear. And unfortunately for Pauline in her world, she's unable to get any real psychological help until it's too late. Going inside such a dark mind, you have an appreciation for the actress. Annalyn saw this film as a coming-of-age story, and she fought really hard with her agent to be allowed to be in this kind of film. In her own words, she tried to look uglier and uglier, but she was having a hard time looking ugly enough for the role. I am listening to what I'm saying, and I am fully aware of how out of touch this sounds. She actually struggled so much that she had her makeup artist come meet her in the parking garage of where she was going to meet the director for the first time to make her face look you know, not as symmetrical, which is where the crazy unkept eyebrows come from, which are in the final film. But in her defense, she does say, I don't know if this is in her defense, but she does say that it wasn't about becoming unattractive, it was about becoming real. She said that Pauline, unlike the other roles she has played, is more of who she actually is, and she relates to this character, not the popular kind of girls that she's used to playing. I don't know if that's a red flag, I'm a little bit concerned. But probably more concerning is that her performance is so flawless. The efforts of the director really paid off because it all comes together for the viewer. This film had some real blood, sweat, and tears behind it. Let me explain. The director, Richard Bates Jr., based the script on a short that he had made while in film school. Although the short was successful and won a lot of awards, he had a hard time turning it into a feature because, believe it or not, when he met with all of these studios, they were not really keen on getting a film like this off the ground. Probably doesn't appeal to a lot of demographics, not really a big money maker, and probably not a great investment in a first-time director. But Richard knew if he was going to make any film, it was going to be this one, and he was going to go down fighting. He ended up raising the money himself with a team of friends who financed the film. But apparently it got really messy and he was in way over his head. He had no idea how much he had bitten off. And at one point he thought he was going to be blacklisted by Hollywood for doing so many shortcuts. But he believed in this project so much and he sent out the script to a bunch of his heroes, which is why this indie film has such a stunning cast. Richard was not afraid of going out there and getting it done. He wanted to make sure if this was the last film he ever made, that it was something really special he could be proud of. And because the script was so unique and really controversial, of course it caught the eye of legends such as John Waters, and you bet the reason Ray Wise was contacted was because Richard Bates Jr. is a mega fan of Twin Peaks. Suddenly, the edginess of the script was paying off in a big way, and with a tight budget, they filmed the whole feature in 28 days. The film premiered at the 2012 Sundance Film Festival, where Bates made the audience bloody tampons. I can't believe I said that with a straight face. There is something so magical about an indie horror filmmaker who is so obsessed with his work and backs it that hard that he's willing to bet his career on it. Bloody tampons and all. I mean, you can't come back from that. If that turns out bad, that's something else. But later, when the film played at Fantasia Film Festival, it sold out an 800-seat theater, where the director, Bates, held back tears. I'm happy to announce 10 years later, the show has continued with Tone Deaf, King Knight, and my personal favorite, Trash Fire. Although I'm not a fan of all of his films, his offbeat approach to filmmaking is inspiring, and it gives me a whole nother level of respect for the 2012 cult film Excision, a movie in which filmmakers and audiences who love edgy content will see what's possible, and what's possible if you get your hands a little bit dirty. I'm talking about the blood. Excision really is a simple storyline with a lot of bells and whistles that talks about mental illness with body horror, which is one of my favorite things. I would love to hear what you think of the film. Have you seen it? And if you haven't, I definitely kept out the spoilers so you can check it out and hopefully you enjoy it, but be warned, content warning. I don't even know where to start with that one. Be warned, it's bloody and it really does touch on everything. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on this film. We haven't really spoken about it on this channel before, but I just wanted to show it some love. I hope you're having a fantastic day and I'll talk to you all very soon. Stay safe and stay spooky. Bye, friends.